Hey, how's it going, Michael? Just wanted to ask you about yesterday. Pretty productive outing for you. I think only maybe your second or third game as an outside linebacker. What are you doing right in these games?
I think it's just getting more comfortable at the position. So, it's something that Thad and I have been working towards. And, it started out as in case of emergency, if somebody goes down. And, as you guys all know, the way this season has gone, we've had a lot of guys go down. So, thankful for the opportunity that my number got called and I was able to do something with it.
How much experience, maybe prior to the NFL, have you had playing on the outside?
Almost none. So a little bit in college, lined up as a 5 technique, similar to what we do with AD with some of our exotic fronts, but nothing really standing up. No.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you, Michael.
Yep.
Stu.
Michael, along those lines, what's the biggest challenge moving from playing mostly along the defensive line to standing up and playing outside linebacker?
I think it's just getting more comfortable in space. Outside linebacker, there's, times when you're dropping into coverage and being part of, the pass game that is different than just rushing every single time. So I think it's getting more comfortable in that, getting more comfortable with your outside foot being back and just, playing off tackle, leveling off your rushes. And then, for us, especially, we always talk about, rushing the passer together and being able to play off guys, especially when Aaron Donald's in there and, he's going to take his two-way go and beat a guard any way that he can. And so it's learning to be comfortable in collapsing pockets and playing off him and just, learning how to rush as a group.
And then is there anything, maybe from a technique standpoint or otherwise that you feel like is allowing you to, play at the level you're playing at outside linebacker versus defensive end or defense?
Yeah, I think, because my natural training has been interior defensive line, and I've worked with Coach Henderson for the last, 2.5, almost 3 years now, working on the pass rush, working on the different stuff. And, so there is a lot of carryover between the two positions. It's just, what step you're hitting your cross chop on, or when you, throw your power, or when you're making your counter. So there's a lot of carryover between the two of them. For me, I think, I'm obviously a bigger body than, most people who play outside of there on the edge. So I think, a lot of times I can use that to my advantage and have that good combination of size and speed, which I think translates well. And then, I've been in this system for a long time. So, football a long time, but, there's, I know the defense. I know what the rush packages kind of look like. I know how it's supposed to look. I watched all last year Vaughn run it almost perfectly after getting dropped in halfway through the season. So I've been around a lot of really special players who, just watching the way that they approach and attack it, I think I picked up a lot on that.
Thank you. Appreciate the insight.
Jordan.
Hey, Mike, what have you kind of expanded upon in terms of your studies of how to manipulate space when you're out there?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more studying how because tackles are going to set deeper than guards are. And it's, figuring out, whoever we're going against, where's that set point where you need to throw your move? What hand are they going to throw? How are they mixing up their different jump sets or the different ways that they set? So it's a different way of sort of looking at your matchup, but with the interior line and the outside linebackers, we like to meet together and talk about the offensive line and talk about how we're going to approach it because, our philosophy a lot of times has been, we can put guys in different spots. We can move guys around. You'll see Aaron Donald at a 5 technique and you'll see Leonard Floyd back, almost the middle linebacker position or both hand in the dirt or, so we move guys around and we ask our guys to do a lot. So we try and play that complementary pass rush ball where we can move guys into where we think we're going to be the most successful. So, being in that environment, I've picked up a lot of that stuff along the way. And now it's just seeing the game more from an outside perspective and really finding that where exactly is the best place to throw my move.
And then initial numbers from some of the studies last night showed you guys had a 52% pressure rate. It's about double the average. And I think when people hear no Aaron Donald, when people hear no A'Shawn Robinson and everybody's banged up and they maybe don't expect that type of production. But what about this group through this last week of practice? What about you guys came together and how did you respond so effectively on Sunday?
you're never going to be able to replace guys like Aaron Donald, and you'll never be able to replace guys like Ashawn Robinson. Like, I mean, they're through and through some of the best at what they do. And for us, I think coming into practice, I think we always talk about we have the right type of guys in this locker room where, no matter what happens the previous week, we're going to come back to work and we're going to continue to get better. And, you don't go into battle with the army you want, you go to the battle with the army you have. And so we've been talking about, really just letting it loose and trying to have as much fun out there as possible. And I think you could see some of that on when we were getting pressure on the quarterback and when we were playing together. I think guys were excited, guys were having fun, and that, energy feeds off of it, off one another. And, it helps guys play better together. So, I think everybody here is wired the right way. And just from what I've seen, the ability to bounce back week in and week out without any sort of loss of focus or any loss of energy, I'm super fortunate to be around a lot of guys who really do this the right way.
Last quick one for me. What you've played the little tight end, you've been a punt returner, gunner, you've been outside linebacker, DL. What would you prefer? Like, what would you like us to call you when we refer to you?
I'm a defensive lineman, so that's by nature, that's my trait. Now, whether that's on the edge, inside, that matters less. But I'm just a ball player. I'm just an athlete who, I like this. I love the sport. I've been playing it since third grade, and I've played offense in high school, played defense since college, and it's just been a blast. So it doesn't really matter what you call me, as long as still out there on the field and continue to rush and have a good time. It doesn't matter to me.
Thanks, Mike.
Gary. You're on mute, Gary.
How much of that learning curve, in terms of your development, is observation and note taking, either mental or writing it down, of guys like Aaron Donald and Leonard Floyd? And what, if anything, sticks out in your mind as things maybe you've learned from each of them?
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely a lot of it. Especially last year, I think we had this really special group that we assembled, where we had Vaughn, we had Leonard Floyd, we had AD, and Greg, and just watching those four guys work together and really play off one another and put themselves in a spot for success. And that's what we continue every single week to try and emulate this year. And so just being around that was really special. As far as like what I've really picked up, I think just getting that natural feel for where the other guys around you are in space. And, if you see one of our interior defensive linemen start to, move up in the field, you got to know that he's going to take his rush high and you got to counter underneath, and knowing like what type of interior games are happening so that you have a little more space on the outside, because if the quarterback steps up, he's going to run into some of the interior pressure we have. So it's, I've seen it work at a really, really high level, and I've seen it done the right way and done, almost to the best that anybody can do it. And so I think being around that environment, I definitely picked up a ton from that.
Thank you.
Greg.
Hey, Mike, did you get any good reactions from friends or family members after your sacks yesterday?
Yeah, I got pretty much everybody that I've ever met sent me something. So, obviously I had some family in town, so it was, spending time with them, trying to see them as much as possible. My grandfather, this was his first NFL game, so he picked a good one to come to and come see. So he was, definitely excited. But yeah, I got text from a lot of people. So to all the people out there that sent me messages, if I haven't gotten back to you yet, just know it's appreciated, and I will get back to you at some point today.